Whenever a planet transits a sign that is directly opposite its sign of rulership or exaltation, it experiences weakened expression. So if you're keeping count, we have a weakened sun fallen in Libra, where it's more focused on the needs of the other in relationship to it, because it's in Libra, opposite the sign of partnership, opposite the sign of the self, Aries, where the sun would be exalted, fully free to put the self first. When the sun is in Libra, it puts the focus of our energy into the other person in relationship to us, whether that's our significant other, child, parent, best friend, business partner, or client. Libra is a highly people-oriented energy as a cardinal air sign, known for initiating socially with its charm, poise, and social grace. We also have Mars weakened opposite its sign of exaltation, which would be Capricorn, currently transiting through Cancer, putting our motivation and drive and overall energy at the mercy of the ever-fluctuating moon and tying our motivation to our moods and our emotions. Mars in Cancer puts our energy and focus into our homes, families, sense of security, and collectively onto national security. And it intensifies the impact of the lunations until April 2025, after Mars completes its retrograde cycle and prepares for forward progress through Leo. And Jupiter is considered to be weakened in Gemini, opposite Jupiter's sign of rulership, Sagittarius. Feeling spread too thin, dealing with gossip and censorship, showing where we are most polarized or divided, and getting a bit tired of juggling. Jupiter stations retrograde just 1 week after this new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 9th, 2024, 21 degrees 20 arc minutes of Gemini. Jupiter brings growth, expansion, wisdom, and abundance. Whenever a planet changes direction, stations direct or retrograde, it amplifies its energy, which implies that the polarity we're seeing play out on social media and on the internet may intensify in the weeks following this October new moon solar eclipse. Jupiter in Gemini, because it's weakened or debilitated, can highlight Gemini's weakest traits, which would include its tendency to overpromise and overcommit. What seems to happen for Gemini, remember I'm a Gemini moon and Mars, Gemini stellium technically if you count the asteroids. What seems to happen for a Gemini is that they truly are a jack of all trades. They have a myriad of interests and talents. This can cause a Gemini to scatter and spread itself pretty thinly, feeling like an octopus being pulled in many different directions all at once, when it's called to Gemini juggle everything. Often a Gemini will think that it has the time and energy because it does have energy in the moment when it agrees to do something, but it may later realize that it doesn't, and that it has overcommitted itself, which can make them appear flaky or disingenuous. Be mindful of this tendency and this pattern, as Jupiter in Gemini can expand the energy and the influence among the collective. Be careful not to bite off more than you can realistically chew and digest. This also implies a dichotomy between our expectations and what will be the realistic outcome. Be mindful, avoid getting overly attached to any expectations you might be holding. Remember, William Shakespeare said, "Expectation is the root of all heartache." The last time Jupiter stationed retrograde at this degree point, 21 degrees Gemini, was on October 10th, 1941. So far this year, a couple of transits have brought us back to the year 1941, the year that led into US involvement in World War II. If you recall the content I put out in July around the Mars-Uranus conjunction on Algol, 26 degrees Taurus, you'll recall that this was a conjunction between Mars and Uranus on this specific degree point on Algol that we hadn't seen in 84 years, the last of which coincided with the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of 1941. This was an event that essentially forced U.S. involvement in World War II. The U.S. had, until that point, essentially maintained neutrality, despite financing the Allied powers, Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union, modern-day Russia. In October 1941, while Jupiter was stationed 21 degrees the first 3 weeks of October 1941, it coincided with the first Moscow Conference between representatives from the governments of the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, modern-day Russia, who were all allies against the Axis powers. At this time, Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, modern-day Russia, was already underway, and the Russians were seeking help in the form of arms and munitions to defend against the invasion. On my birthday, though long before I was born, this was October 8th, 1941, U.S. President FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, sent Soviet leader Joseph Stalin a message agreeing to support him, and a couple days later, on October 11th, 1941, he sent another message, this one to Winston Churchill of the United Kingdom, suggesting that the two team up, combine resources, and begin to research into the possibility of nuclear weapons. In so doing, the United States of America remained neutral while helping its allies and preparing for escalation on the home front. Since Jupiter is stationing retrograde on October 9th, 2024, exactly where it stationed retrograde back on October 10th, 1941, this implies a potential repeat or mirroring of history. As the United States continues to supply arms and assistance to Ukraine and Israel, we can anticipate conflict to continue to escalate. We may also anticipate a potentially catastrophic attack on United States soil, especially in the Washington, D.C. area and United States sanctuary cities. We may see increased violence in these cities that threatens the overall feeling of safety and security in America. We can also anticipate United States' formal involvement in global war by 2025, which aligns with what we've historically seen with Uranus transits through Gemini, where Uranus is headed in 2025. Historically, every time that Uranus transits through Gemini, the United States gets involved in a major war. The situation we were in back on the precipice of World War II in 1941 mirrors the situation we are in now as we attempt to maintain neutrality in global war while still supplying arms and munitions to our friends Ukraine and Israel. Ukraine has requested permission from its allies to use Western-designed long-range weapons, which the United Kingdom, the United States, and Germany have all, up until this point at least, refused. Putin has flat out said he will escalate the situation into potentially nuclear conflict, as he would consider it an attack by NATO, as he argues that Ukraine would not be able to utilize these weapons without the support of their NATO allies. The United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and Ukraine are all in a position to call Putin's bluff, but this has very concerning implications as it could lead to nuclear world war. Nuclear world war aligns with Pluto's forward progress through Aquarius, beginning just after the United States presidential election, when Pluto returns to 0 degrees Aquarius for uninterrupted progress on November 19th, 2024. Aquarius is modernly ruled by Uranus, and both have ties to nuclear power and nuclear engineering. Pluto's transit through Aquarius 2024 to 2044 will lead to a radical dismantling of society as we know it. That leads to extraordinary developments. It will lead to a shift in governmental structures and to the workforce and economy as we know it, as we pave the way for a more equitable, compassionate, and humanitarian way of being in the age of Aquarius. Felt on a more personal level, the ingress of Pluto in Aquarius can signal intense and transformative shifts in one's professional realm or overall legacy, as we're all collectively called to realign our goals and aspirations. We will all feel called to align with authenticity and purpose, and to do more to leave a positive imprint or mark on the collective. In order to achieve that, we must first delve into discovering what that purpose, soul path, or dharma is. Now we have Venus, weakened in Scorpio, kick-started by an immediate, challenging square to Pluto, while Pluto's at that critical, anaretic 29th degree crisis point, and coinciding with the autumnal equinox. Venus remains in Scorpio until October 17th, when she moves on to the realm of freedom, travel, and philosophy-loving Sagittarius. Venus, debilitated in Scorpio, lacks access to its resources, and in this case, it may be lacking access to shared resources. Trust funds, inheritances, taxes, debts, insurance, anything that involves the merging of money and resources are all Scorpio areas. There's this phenomenon that seems to occur in election years in the United States of America that's commonly known as an October surprise, and the astrology so far seems to align with this. Events that happen between now and the November United States presidential election will change leadership as we know it, and it will affect the outcome of the election. We kickstarted October 2024 with a new moon solar eclipse in Libra, which can bring unexpected and dramatic events. With a full moon in Aries in the middle of the month on October 17th, 2024, with the moon in Aries answering to Aries' ruling planet Mars, weakened in Cancer, with the moon in Aries answering to Aries' ruling planet Mars in Cancer, which puts the moon and its ruler, while it's in Aries, Mars, into mutual reception. They've traded rulers. Indicates that there will not only be an escalation to existing conflicts and wars, but a major change in fate affecting both presidential candidates and potentially also our current president of the United States. Thank you for watching. If you're still with me, you're a real one. Drop your current most used emoji in the comments. If you took anything away from this video, we ask that you like, comment, share the content, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, we know that you'll enjoy the full playlist and this additional video. Thank you so much. Love you, and see you soon.